Functions in C language. Let us discuss what is a function. Let us suppose that there is one C program. This C program is going to perform different kind of operations. Let us say the first operation is add operation, that is adding of two numbers, and let us assume the second operation is a subtract operation. Let us take the name as the function as a sub, and the third operation that we are going to perform is the multiply. Let us take it as the mul operation. So whenever a C program is divided into a smaller number of a smaller portion of different sections, so that each function will perform a specific task. Each function is going to perform a specific task. So we can call this concept as a functions. Means we are dividing a program, okay, into different subsections. This is the first subsection, this is the second subsection, and this is the third subsection, so that each subsection will do their own specific task. There is the task number 1, this is the task number 1, and this is the task number 2, and this is the task number 3. These concepts where a C program is divided into different sections of code, different sections of code is called as the functions. So whenever you divide the program into the functions, whenever you divide the program into these functions, what will happen is the person who is able to see the program code can easily understand about the code of the program very easily. That is, the readability will increase. The readability of the program is increased. Means everybody can easily understand the program. For example, if you don't use the functions, then all the code will be at the same place. All the code will be at the same place, which is difficult to understand for the user to understand the code. And but if I divide them cleanly into different sections, okay, so that for example if I want to see what is the add function code, I can go to the add function and see the code. If I only want to see the multiplication code, if I don't require any addition code or the subtraction code, directly I can go to the multiplication code and understand the code. So whenever we divide a program into a number of functions, we can easily understand the code, we can easily separate the code, okay. So for the purpose of increasing the readability of the code, the C program is divided into different function, and this concept we are also called as modular programming. What programming it is? Modular programming. Modular means we are going to divide the total program into different modules or functions, so it is called as a module program. So C is called as a modular programming language, okay. Let us go for the theory of what a function is. A function can be a collection of a number of that is a program can be a collection of a number of function. Means the program is divided into different functions, less like add function, subtract function, and the multiplication function. Each function is used to do a certain type of work, okay. Add function is going to do one kind of work, and the multiplication is going to do some other kind of work. Their work is different, okay, they have their own specific work. It is easy to understand the program code as we divide the whole task into different subtasks called as functions. If we divide them into subtasks or the functions, it is easy for the reader or the user to understand the code easily. We can easily understand the code, we can the code will be cleaner, okay. Next, we can identify a function with bracket symbol. How to identify function, how to know that it is a function? If you find any symbols like this bracket symbol, the normal brackets, so we can easily identify that yes, it is a function because it has a bracket. And it is also followed by a block of code, that is the starting flower bracket and the ending flower bracket. So in between these two we are going to write a code of the function. Whatever the work that is going to perform will be written inside the block of the function. So the above function is used to add numbers. This add function is used to what? For adding the numbers, because each function will have some their own specific task. Here the name says add. Add means addition of numbers. So let us go for the next discussion, that is the types of functions. The functions are divided into two types. One is called the predefined function and the another one is called as a user defined function. What is the second kind of function? User defined function. Here it is. Okay, so what is the difference between the predefined function and the user defined function? The name itself says predefined, means it is already defined in the library. It is already defined in the library. The library will have different kind of header files. Library will have different kind of header files. For example, if you look at the printf and scanf function, these are already predefined in stdio.h. stdio.h is nothing but standard input output header file. Means all the input function like scanf and the printer will already defined with already the code for that function. Okay, the actual code for that function is already being defined in that stdio.h header file. So whenever you are using the function printf or scanf, you must include this file in the programs, okay, at the top of the file. So whenever you are including some header file for some function, so that we can easily say that those functions are predefined. So other than that, the other name for the predefined function, we can call it as a built-in functions. There are so many built-in functions other than printf and scanf. There are so many other built-in functions which are available. So again, built-in functions are further divided as character functions. This is the first one. String functions. This is the second one. Okay, and the math function. This is the third one. What is the definition of a character function is the functions which are defined in the c type.h. Means whenever you are writing c type.h, that means you are including the character functions. And whenever you are using these functions, is lower, is upper, you must include the file c type.h. Similar to that, what is a string function? Whatever the function those are predefined in the string.h header file, we can call them as a string functions. So the string functions are something like strlen, strcat. And whenever you are calling these functions, you must include this header file. What is the header file? String.h header file. You must include the string.h header file. Similarly, we have the math functions. In order to call the math function, that is the floor function, sqrt function or the ceil function, you are going to write or include the math.h header file at the top of the C program. Now what these functions, each of the character functions and what is the string functions and math functions, let us execute the code of the character functions, string functions and math function. Practically we will see how they are going to be executed and what is the output of each of the functions. First let us go with the character functions. So here the character functions are different character functions are there. Here we are using the is digit function. Okay, this is digit function, what it is going to return, it is going to check whether the input argument, that is this is the input argument, right, 5, whether this input argument 5 is a digit or not. For that I am including the header file ctype.h. What is the header file that I have included? Ctype.h, because this is digit function is defined, predefined in the ctype.h. So whenever you are using the isDigit function, you must include the ctype.h header file. So let us run the program. It is giving a output like it's a digit. What is the meaning of it? it is going to check whether this 5 is a digit or not. Okay, so we can also write the else part here. Else printf, we can give it as it's not a digit. Run it. So semicolon is missing here, so printf is wrong here. Anyway, run it. It's not, it's a digit. Okay, why? Because 5 is a digit, right? That's why it is giving the output like it's a digit. Let us take some other value. For example, instead of that I am taking something like g is a character, g is not a digit. So in this case it has to give the output like it's not a digit, right? It's not a digit, this output should come. So let us run this code. So it is giving the desired output, that is it's not a digit. So this particular functions is digit is going to check whether the input argument inside this bracket is a digit or not. If it is a digit, it will give the this output. Okay, otherwise it will be giving the second output, that is the else part output. Similarly, we can go for some other function, that is the second function of character functions, that is the c type dot h. We can also check whether the entered value or the input argument is a alphabet or not. So here I'm going to change the printf's code here. It is a alphabet. For the clarity of the user, you have to give the related output. So it's not an alphabet. It's an alphabet, it's not an alphabet. So for this, what is the result that we have to get? The result that we have to get is it's an alphabet, right? So run it. It's an alphabet, it is giving the desired output. Let us check with the digit. So as it is checking the alphabets for this. Okay, so for this it has to give the output like it's not an alphabet, because 7 is not an alphabet, right? So see here, run it. So there is some error here. Is alpha of 7. So this is the extra thing, that typing mistake. Run it. It's not at all, it's not an alphabet, because 7 is not an alphabet. So these functions are going to check whether that particular input argument is character or not, that is a alphabet or not, digit or not, like that. Similarly, we can go for the next one, lower. It is going to check whether the input argument is lowercase letter or not. So this is not a lowercase letter, right? For this you have to get, so changing it's not. So if it is true, I am going to print it as it's lowercase, it's lowercase. Otherwise I am going to print it as it's not lowercase. So it's lowercase. Run it. It's not a lowercase. Why? Because it is 7. It is 7. It is neither the lowercase or the uppercase. It is 7. Now I am going to take a lowercase letter, that is t, and run it. So I am going to get output like it's lowercase. For example, let us check with the uppercase letters, so that it has to give a result like it's not a lowercase, right? This result should come. So it's not a lowercase. Okay, right? Now I'm going to check whether the input argument is uppercase or not. So e is upper is the name of the function. So this t, for this t, it has to give a output like it's a uppercase. So it's uppercase. It's not uppercase. So it's uppercase, it's not an uppercase. For this you are going to get it as uppercase, because t is capital letter here. So it's uppercase. Let us check with the small t. It is not an uppercase, right? So run it. It's not an uppercase. So these are the functions. Okay, these are the functions. Similarly, we can go for the second type of functions. There is nothing but the string function. What is the second kind of function? String function. The file that we have to include is called as the string.h. So let us go with the practical execution of the string.h functions. Instead of ctype.h, I am changing the header file to string.h, and here it is going to deal with the strings. Strings means group of characters. That is nothing but the character array. So here I am taking some str, one string here. Let us take the size as 20, and the first function is going to return the total. You can specify some string or the name here within the double quotes, as the string is enclosed within the double quotes. So what is the name of the function? Welcome. Okay, let us take str1 as well, otherwise I'm taking it as well, and taking the some other string. There is a second string, there is nothing but the str2. The size, let take the 20 as well. Here the string I am taking it as come, so that we can understand the program easily. Okay, two are there. So let us check the what is the length of the first string. So I'm writing here just message length is equal to, length is always in the percentile d, this is the integer. The function for getting the length of a string is strlen, which is predefined in string.h. Let us find out what is the length of the first string, that is str1. Okay, run this code. So this is the old code which we need to remove. See here, length is 3, right? Why the length is 3? Why? Because in the well 3 letters are there. So the total number of letters are 3 letters, actual number of characters. Okay, that is nothing but WL. Similarly, we can find out the length of the second string also. Change it to str2, and see here length is 4. Why? Because in the come the length is 4, because the number of characters are 4. Other than strlen, we have different other functions. Okay, there is nothing but strcat. What is the next function? Concatenation functions. That is we can concatenate two functions, or so I am writing it as concatenation is equal to percentile d backslash n. Here the name of the function is strcat here, so I am writing it as strcat. I am going to attach the string 2 to the string 1. I am going to add the string 2, that is the come, to the well, so it will become welcome. The str1 is going to change to welcome, str2 remains the same. So whenever you do the strcat of str1 and str2, this is going to be percentile s, because it is going to return the string. So percentile s and run it. So concatenation is equal to what? Welcome, right? After concatenation it will become welcome. Similarly, we can use some other functions, right? Right now the str1 is well and str2 is come. So but str1 is already changed to welcome, right? It is already welcome because str2 is already attached to str1. Okay, So let us use the next function, that is strcpy of the two arguments are str1 comma str2. strcpy of str2 means the string in str2 will be copied to str1. So str2, right now str2 is come, right? But this come will be pasted into the upon the well, right? Now str1 changes to the come, means the second string, that is come, will be copied to the first string well. So well is replaced by come. So let us do this. It's not the concatenation, it is the string copy. str copy. After str copy, the result will be like this: strcpy is equal to come. That means the str1 changed to come. So if you want, you can print the str1 value. So printf %s comma, you want to check whether str1 is changed to come or not, right? So see here we are getting value like come. Okay, str2 also changed, there is str1 changed. So these are the different kind of functions which are available in the string functions. So let us go for the next kind of function, that is the math functions. So the header file that we are going to use is the math.h, and here this string is not required in the math function. So there are different kind of function like sqrt. So directly we are using the printf function to find out the square root of a number. Square root will be giving a double value for which the format is %lf. Double data type uses the %small lf as the format specifier, comma, what is that sqrt function you are going to use. So take any value like 4 and check what it is going to return. Direct execution. Here you need to include the return 0, because for int main return 0 is the return type. So one extra floor bracket is there, run it. So 2.0000, after the decimal point 6 digits will be displayed. If nothing is there, all the 6 zeros will be displayed. So sqrt of 4 is 2, right? Sqrt of 4 is 2. Sqrt of 16, let us take, it is going to give the 4.000000. Okay, next the other function other than the sqrt is floor function. The floor function is going to give an integer value, so I am changing it to %ld. Floor of some 3.7, run it, you are going to get, so floor of 3.7. So what is the floor of 3.7? 3.60. Floor will always return the previous integer. The previous integer to this 3.7 is 3, so it is giving a 3. Let us check with the ceil function. Seal will return what? Let us see. Seal means you are getting 4. 4 means seal function will always return the next integer to 3.7. The next integer to 3.7 is 4. What is the previous integer? In order to know the previous integer before 3.7, what is the previous integer? 3, right? So for that previous integer you have to use the floor function. For the next integer you have to use the seal function. So these are the functions available in the math.h. With this, the built-in functions are completed. Let us go for the discussion of the user-defined functions. Okay. So user-defined function, as the name itself says, functions defined by the user. Functions are defined by the user are called as the user-defined functions. We can define a function with whatever the name we want. Okay, we can give any name. Okay, for example, if you want to add two numbers, you can give it as add. If you want to subtract two numbers, you can give subtract. So it is depending on the user. Okay, you can give our name also as a, for example, my name is Raju, I can give Raju as the name of the function like this is also valid, but it's a irrelated name, it's a meaningless name. So try to also always give the meaningful names. I can give my name but it has no meaning. If you are adding two functions, if you are adding two values, you can give it as add. If you are subtracting two values, you can give a related name as subtract. But so this function does not have any meaning, but it depends on the user. Whichever the name that he wants to give for the function, he can give that name. Okay, in the user defined function we have three steps or the three parts. The first one is called as the function declaration. And in order to use the user defined function, these are all the basics that we need. One is the function declaration, and the second one is we need to call the function. That is the calling the function is the second part that we need to do, and the next one is defining the code for the function. So just look at this program, example program. There are three parts are available. Okay, this is our main function. The main function is going to call some other function that is nothing but the add function. What the main function is going to call? Add function. Whenever you call the add function, automatically the control will go to the add function like this. From here the control will be moving to the add function. Okay, here in this add function you are sending two values, that is nothing but a and b, that is 10 and 20. These 10 and 20 are called as the actual parameters. These are called as what? Actual parameters. These actual parameters, whenever the function is called, from the function call, these actual parameters 10 and 20 will be copied to the formal parameters x and y. These x and y are called as what? Formal parameters. That which are sent, we can call them as the actual parameters. So those variables which are receiving the values sent by the function call, we are calling them as what? The formal parameters. Now the x and y also consist of the same values, that is 10 and 20, which are copied from the function call. Function call, what is the function call? Add of a comma b. In the function call I am sending some arguments followed by the semicolon. Okay, this is the basic syntax of any function call. If you are for example, if you are calling some multiplication function, then I am going to call it as mul of a comma b. You have to send some argument followed by semicolon. Okay, inside this function, this is the return statement which is going to return the addition of the values. Because this function has to perform the addition operation, it is going to return what is that 10 plus 20, what is the value? 30 will be returned back to the calling function. So here in place of this one, what is substituted? 30 will be substituted, and this 30 will be going to be stored. This 30 will be going to be stored. Where it is going to be stored? It is going to store into the result. Now the result consists of 30, and that result will be printed in the main function by using this printf statement. So this is the actual mechanism of a user defined function. You need to send some values to the function. it will go to that user defined function. Here this part we are calling it as a user defined function, and this user defined function is going to perform the addition for us, right? So here the actual parameters 10 and 20 will be copied to the formal parameters x and y, and the addition task will be performed by the add function, and 30 will be returned to the calling function. The calling function is main here. Main is called as what kind of function? Calling function. Why it is called as a calling function? Because it is actually calling the add function, so I can call it as a calling function. Okay, whichever the function that calls is called as a calling function, and whatever the function that is called, that is called as a called function. Add is a called function here. Okay, so we have already said that there are three parts in the user defined function. One is the function declaration, function call, and defining the function. These two parts we have discussed, that is the second one and third one. What is the calling the function? So this is the calling the function. This is nothing but the calling the function. This result is equal to something. This is called as a calling the function. This part we are calling it as a calling the function. What is defining the function? So this part we are calling it as a defining the function. This is what? Defining the function. So what about the first part, that is the function declaration? The function declaration, in the function declaration we are going to write like this, means return type. This function is going to return 10 plus 20 30, which is an integer, so the return type is what? Int here. And the name of the function, that is add function, and values, two integer values we are going to send, so I am writing the, this is called as declaring the function. So this is the first part, and what is the second part here? The second part is nothing but this one, that is the calling the function. This is the second part. What is the third part? This is the third part, that is defining the code for the function. So this is the explanation about the user defined function. So let us execute this program practically. So there is no need of math.h for the user defined function, but we are going to define a function. The name of the function is add function, so I am declaring that function. This add function is going to send two integer values to the functions in the function call. So int is the return type. These two values are going to be sent. This is called as the function prototype. And within the main function I am going to call the function. The name of the function is add function. In the add function I am going to send the values, that is 10 and 20, which are stored in a comma b. So define the a comma b in the beginning, that is int a comma b, where a value I am taking it as 10. What is the a value here? I am taking it as 10, and the b value I am taking it as 20. So the returned result will be stored in the variable, that is result. So I need to declare one more variable here. We have that is nothing but the int result. We have to always declare the variable depending on our requirement. So whatever the value that is written by this add function will be stored in the result. Okay, so let us go for the definition. This is the function prototype, first part, and this is the function call, second part. Let us go for the function definition, where actual function is defined. It is going to return 30, so the return type is int. Add is the name of the function, and let us take the formal parameters as int x comma int y. So we have to return the a plus b, which is stored in x and y, right? So we cannot access a and b here, we can only access the x and y. So I am returning the x plus y, that is nothing but 10 plus 20. Already 10 and 20 from a comma b are copied to x and y, so it is enough to return the x plus y. But after returning I need to print the value, so I am writing the printf function here. So addition is equal to percentile d, and what is the value that is returned? That is nothing but which is stored in the result variable. So result and semicolon index comma into I results. Let us run this code. Addition is equal to 30. You can change the values to 100 and 200 and check whether this is going to work fine or not. So addition is equal to 300, so this is working fine. So this is the explanation about different kind of functions along with the practical execution.